How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please consider subscribing and smash that like button. I really would appreciate it. Right before we get into the nuts and bolts of the video, I just want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor. Yes, that's right, I said a sponsor. It's a local band here in the Houston area called VOSOTROS, Spanish rock. They've supported me greatly. They've heard of me through word of mouth. They consist of actually my cousins. Every single member of the band has supported me greatly. So I really appreciate that. Not including my immediate family, my wife, kids. They've all supported me and had my back. And I'll leave a link in the description of the band. That way I can go check them out. All right, let's get into the video. The first step, and I cannot stress this enough, you have to have a good comal or a griddle. It has to be a thick griddle. It cannot be real thin. You want the griddle or the comal to retain the heat. That way, once you put your tortillas on there, the temperature of the comal does not decrease and cause your tortillas to dry out. Because if the temperature of the comal is not hot, the tortillas won't be fluffy, they will end up drying out. And that's not good. So make sure you have a nice, good, thick comal. This one is about 1/4 of an inch thick, so it will retain the heat. If you want to use something like this cast iron pan, this will be great. But in this video, I'm going to use the comal since I can put at least 2 tortillas on there at the same time. Now, the next crucial step, you have to preheat the comal. It has to be nice and hot. So I'm going to put mine on medium-high heat. And you have to get to know your stove. You have to know how hot it gets. If it's too hot on one setting, you'll have to practice that with your own stove. But for me, medium-high heat is perfect. So let that sit for a good 10 minutes to get nice and hot. In this video, just use the tortilla mix. In another video, I'll show you how to make the tortillas from scratch and show you how they come out. All right, before we start getting the flour together, get yourself 3/4 of a cup of water. Now we're only gonna use half a cup, but just in case we need some extra, we'll have it already ready to go. Put it in the microwave and heat it up for 3 minutes. Now I did put out a little teaser video yesterday, a YouTube short, that I was gonna make this full video on how to make tortillas. I was getting real great feedback. There was, 1 or 2 people leaving their comments saying that, oh, this is not from scratch. This is not real tortillas. It's like, well, I understand it's not from scratch. It is a mix. But if you don't know how to make tortillas from a mix, then you're not gonna be able to make them from scratch. And don't you worry, that will be coming soon. We'll start off with 2 cups. All right, we're gonna try half a cup of water first. Make sure your water is nice and hot. You had it in the microwave for 3 minutes, it should be nice and hot. If it's cold, the tortillas don't come out too well. Make yourself a little bowl here. Pour your water in the center. Now, if you want, you can use gloves. I'm just gonna use my hands. Take off any rings, that way they don't get dirty. And just mix it around. You'll have to feel for a certain consistency. And it'll take some practice, but right here, I can already tell this is gonna need some more water. Maybe another 1/4 cup. So let's use a 1/4 cup more water and see how that comes out. All right, we got a 1/4 cup. Let's put that in. If it gets a little sticky, just put a little flour in there. This is something that can be easily fixed. Put some on your hands too to get rid of some of the flour that's stuck on your hands. If you need to add a little bit more flour, go ahead and add it if it's real sticky. If it's too dry, then add some more water. This is something that's that you have to adjust. You have to get a feel for it. I'm gonna put a little bit more flour. And when I say flour, I'm using actually the tortilla mix. I'm not using actual just all-purpose flour. And just keep kneading it for about a minute. There you go. So this is 2 cups of flour and between half and 3/4 of a cup of water. All right, now we got our tortilla ball. We're gonna put it on our counter, and what we're gonna do is just roll it out like a log. Not like that much. All right, I added a little scale here so I can measure them out for you, and you can see how much they'll weigh. I usually try to do about 2 ounces, but I usually never measure it. So get yourself a piece of the dough. We'll put it on the scale. Exactly 2 ounces. I'm that good, guys. So when you're making making your tortilla balls, just get a little bit off, maybe the size of a golf ball. You can roll them out a couple of ways. You can do them by hand like this, one at a time, and then just put them on the side. The other one I did, it takes a little practice. You can put your tortilla ball on the counter and just roll it, keep it in the palm of your hand, and your thumb on the side is keeping it from sliding out. If you didn't have your thumb there, it would kind of get it would be a little bit harder to control. So get your thumb right here on the side and just keep it in the palm of your hand and just rolling it around nice and tight. And if you get really good, you can do 2 tortillas in your hand at the same time. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get our tortilla mix flour and just put it right on top. This is gonna help the rolling pin not stick to the tortillas, and just that way it's kind of like we're pre-putting the flour on the tortillas so they won't stick. So when you have them there, just kind of press them down like that. And if you're gonna leave these out, if you're not gonna make them right away, I would highly recommend putting a damp warm towel over them. That way they don't dry out. And just let them rest there for about 5 minutes. All right, while we're waiting for our tortillas to rest, let's get ourselves a sheet of foil and put a paper towel right on the bottom of it. That's gonna help soak up the moisture coming from the tortillas. When we cover them with foil, the tortillas will tend to steam. So if you don't put this paper towel on the bottom, the first tortilla is gonna soak up all the moisture, is gonna get all soggy. So we're not wasting tortillas here, guys. All right, now we're ready to get started and roll out these tortillas. First, get yourself a little mound of tortilla flour or tortilla mix. It's the same thing. I'm not using all-purpose flour. This is straight from the tortilla mix. Get yourself a little bit of flour, put it on your rolling pin, and just coat it with flour. Just like that. And you'll put a little flour here on the bottom. That way the tortillas don't stick to the counter. All right, get your first tortilla, put it right there in the middle. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna start right in the middle. And you're putting light pressure. You're gonna go forward and backward. And then you're gonna turn it a quarter turn. Forward and backward. And you're just gonna keep turning it. If you feel the tortilla starting to stick, just add a little bit more flour on the bottom or some more flour on your rolling pin. Just like that. All right, let's put our first tortilla on our comal and let's cook it. Know when it's time to flip them over is when I'm done rolling out another tortilla. That's usually the time to flip them. So that's perfect. And it'll take some practice for you to get to know your stove, to see how hot it gets. So this one is done. Perfect. So we're gonna put that on our foil and just let that rest there, and then we're gonna cook up our other tortillas. All right, let's keep rolling out these tortillas. See how that one's stuck? So just put a little bit more flour on your rolling pin and just keep turning it a quarter turn. And sometimes they might come out a little funky, but that's okay. They'll still taste just fine. So that one's good. All right, let's put these tortillas on the comal. Now when you're done, put yourself a paper towel on top of the tortillas. That way the top tortilla doesn't get soggy and the napkin will absorb the moisture. So let's wrap these up in foil. All right, guys, that's how you make fresh, homemade flour tortillas. If you like the content, please consider subscribing and smash that like button. If you made these tortillas, let me know how they came out in the comment section. Y'all have a great day, guys. See you on the next video. A little bit of bonus footage. The best way to eat a hot tortilla straight off the comal is to put a little butter on there. Everyone's definition of little is different, but you know what? Put a lot of butter. Put a lot of butter on that thing. Roll it up. Let's try it out. Fantastic, guys. It's soft, it's airy, it's fluffy. Perfect, especially with that butter on there. Perfect tortilla for breakfast tacos or any meal that requires tortillas. Try it out, guys. You will not be disappointed, I promise you.